What if the secret to a deeper, more passionate relationship isn't spending more time together, but spending more time apart? While the world tells us that love means constant closeness, what if real connection is born in silence, in space, in solitude? Stick around, because this might just change the way you think about love forever. In a culture that often glorifies togetherness and romantic closeness, solitude is frequently misunderstood. It can be viewed as a threat to intimacy, a signal of emotional distance, or even a sign that something is wrong within the relationship. But what if solitude, far from being an enemy of connection, is actually one of its most powerful allies? Solitude is not loneliness. While loneliness stems from a lack of connection, solitude is a conscious choice to be alone, to return to oneself, to reset. In this quiet space, people can reflect, recharge, and reorient. In the context of relationships, solitude is not about creating distance for the sake of absence but about fostering the kind of inner clarity that makes connection more authentic and sustainable. Culturally, solitude is often framed negatively, especially when it occurs within the framework of a romantic partnership. A partner who seeks time alone might be seen as withdrawing, unloving, or even suspicious. But this mindset fails to appreciate how healthy relationships are often built not just on time spent together, but on how each partner grows individually. One of the most common misconceptions in relationships is the idea that partners must do everything together. Movies, books, and societal expectations often reinforce the idea of a couple as a singular, inseparable unit. Yet in reality, every relationship is a dance between two individuals, each with their own needs, goals, histories, and internal lives. In this light, solitude becomes essential. It is the space where self-awareness is cultivated. Partners who regularly connect with their own inner world are often better equipped to show up fully in their relationship. They know what they feel, what they need, and what they value, not because they've outsourced that knowledge to a partner, but because they've taken the time to listen to themselves. Solitude nurtures emotional autonomy. This autonomy isn't about detachment or independence in the extreme, but about self-regulation and responsibility. When people know how to sit with their own discomfort, soothe their own anxieties, or reflect on their actions without relying on someone else, they bring a sense of stability to their relationships. Boundaries are another area where solitude plays a hidden yet powerful role. Taking time alone allows individuals to discern where they end and their partner begins. This clarity helps prevent enmeshment, where one partner's emotions or identity becomes overly dependent on the other's. Boundaries are not barriers, they are the structures that allow love to flow freely without overwhelm or resentment. There's also a deep, often unspoken link between solitude and creativity. Artists and thinkers have long sought solitude as a means to access inspiration. In relationships, this creative energy manifests in unique ways. It might mean returning from time alone with new insights, ideas, or enthusiasm that rejuvenates the partnership. Moreover, solitude preserves a sense of mystery. When partners give each other space, they allow themselves to remain curious about the other person. Constant proximity can lead to overfamiliarity, a sense that nothing new can be discovered. But time apart can reawaken the spark of intrigue. What is my partner thinking? What have they learned? How have they changed? Passion thrives not just on closeness, but also on distance. As Esther Perel, a renowned relationship therapist, observes, fire needs air. Couples who can oscillate between togetherness and separateness often find their connection deepens. Paradoxically, the more they allow each other to be alone. Another hidden benefit of solitude in relationships is its role in healthy conflict resolution. Emotions can run high during disagreements, and taking time alone can provide the mental space needed to process feelings and reflect on perspectives. Rather than reacting impulsively, solitude creates an opportunity for response over reaction. This pause, a walk, journaling, meditating, can transform the quality of communication between partners. Arguments are less likely to escalate into destructive patterns and more likely to be approached with empathy and clarity. Moreover, solitude helps individuals distinguish between problems that belong to the relationship and issues that are personal, thus preventing projection. Relationships evolve. The people in them grow, change careers, face grief, celebrate milestones, raise children, and redefine themselves. In the whirlwind of these transformations, solitude becomes a stabilizing force. It offers a compass for self-renewal, allowing individuals to reconnect with who they are beneath the roles and responsibilities they take on. Couples who value solitude are often better positioned for long-term sustainability. They've cultivated resilience not just as a unit but as individuals. When challenges arise, they can draw on their internal resources without overburdening the relationship. They also give each other the freedom to evolve, rather than fearing that personal growth might lead them apart. In contrast, when relationships become overly dependent or fused, growth can feel threatening. One partner's desire for something new, whether a career shift or a spiritual awakening, might be interpreted as abandonment or betrayal. But in relationships that honor solitude, change is not a threat. It's part of the shared journey. Practically speaking, how can couples integrate solitude into their daily lives? First, it begins with communication. Partners must talk openly about their need for solitude, not as a way of escaping, but as a commitment to presence. This requires a shift in perspective. Solitude is not a rejection of connection but an investment in its quality. Second, creating rituals around solitude can help. Perhaps one partner enjoys morning meditation, while the other takes solo walks after dinner. Maybe weekends are punctuated by a few hours apart, or vacations include individual time for reflection. These routines reinforce the value of solitude and make it easier to normalize. Third, boundaries around technology and social expectations are crucial. In a hyperconnected world, solitude often means disconnecting, not just from people, but from the constant influx of information and stimulation. Creating no phone zones or time blocks for uninterrupted alone time can protect this space. Lastly, couples can support each other in their solitude. This might mean encouraging a partner's solo retreat, respecting their journaling habit, or simply acknowledging their emotional need for quiet. When solitude is supported rather than resented, it becomes a source of strength rather than division. Despite its benefits, many people fear solitude in relationships. Some worry that too much alone time might lead to drifting apart. Others fear being seen as selfish or distant. These fears are understandable, but they often stem from deeper insecurities or cultural conditioning. It's important to address these fears not by eliminating solitude, but by strengthening trust. Partners can reassure each other through words and actions that solitude is not synonymous with disconnection. Regular check-ins, shared goals, and affectionate gestures all serve to anchor the relationship, even as each person explores their own inner world. Another common fear is abandonment. People who have experienced emotional neglect or loss may associate solitude with rejection. In these cases, it's helpful to co-create a language around solitude. Phrases like "I love you," and "I need some quiet time," or "I'll be back soon," "I just need to think," can soothe anxiety while still honoring individual needs. Solitude in relationships is a paradox. The more we turn inward, the more we can offer outward. The more we know ourselves, the better we can know others. The more we nurture our individual spirit, the more vibrant our shared connection becomes. Far from being a wedge that drives couples apart, solitude can be the glue that holds them together. It encourages self-reflection, creativity, resilience, and authenticity. It creates space for mystery, desire, and renewal. Most of all, it reminds us that we are whole on our own and that the best relationships are not about completion, but about companionship between two whole people. In conclusion, as society becomes increasingly fast-paced, interconnected, and demanding, the need for solitude grows ever more urgent. In relationships, where the pressures of daily life can blur the line between partnership and codependence, solitude is not a luxury, it is a necessity. To embrace solitude in love is to take a radical stance. It is to say, I choose you not out of need, not out of habit, but from a place of self-knowledge and presence. It is to love not from emptiness, but from fullness. It is to give not because we must, but because we truly want to. Ultimately, solitude does not weaken connection, it refines it. It allows us to show up more fully, more honestly, and more generously. And in doing so, it reveals one of the most hidden, powerful truths of all, that the strongest bonds are formed not by losing ourselves in another, but by standing firmly beside them, grounded in who we are. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.